Right now, did a high school principal go too far when she created a fake Facebook page to keep tabs on what her students were posting online?
Yeah, Dr. Louise Lassos just resigned from her job at Clayton High School in suburban St. Louis. The official reason given was a, quote, fundamental dispute concerning the appropriate use of social media. Lassos, you see, created a Facebook page using the name Susie Harrison. She then friended more than 100 students at her school. The trouble started when one of those students finally figured it out. Not everyone is happy to see Dr. Lassos go.
I honestly don't know whether or not Principal Lassos was that person, but I do know that she was a great principal, and I loved going to Clayton High School, and I loved having her as a principal, and I liked her as a person.
All right, what do you think here? Did the principal go too far, or was her goal of keeping an eye on what kids were doing online commendable?
Joining us to discuss this topic and a whole lot more, today's guest, Gail Bass. You may recognize her weekdays from Right This Minute right here on ABC 15 at 11 o'clock. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me again. You guys didn't learn your lesson the first time.
We love it. We love it.
You know, I look at that and I think, shouldn't she be worried about test scores rather than who's meeting up to drink beer out of a can on Friday night? I mean, what else is there to do in St. Louis besides watch baseball?
So many people would agree. I mean, so many parents say she does not have the right to monitor our students' activity when they're not in school.
Well, that's a lesson for young kids, because young kids put so much out there. They text, they sex, they do everything, and they don't have this expectation of privacy that people as young as me expect. And I think that they friended this person. They didn't even know her. That's the question. Why are you friending a girl you don't know? Who's Susie Harrison?
And she didn't even go there.
No, it's crazy. I mean, kids will friend thousands of people that they have no idea that, who they are, just to have as many friends as possible. Now, this teacher, she was outed by another student.
Principal.
Yeah. No, it was a student?
The principal. She was the principal.
No. The principal was outed by a student. And she, basically copped up to it to the district, which is interesting to me.
Well, then parents disagree and say, why wasn't there more transparency? Why didn't this principal just come out from the beginning and say, parents, I'm going to do this?
I think it's interesting. She's not going to tell them. She didn't want the kids to know. Clearly, since she didn't tell anybody, she didn't want the kids to know. But so many cases we've seen where teachers have been told, do not friend your students on Facebook. To me, this is kind of like subterfuge, and I would think that Facebook probably has rules about putting phony identities up there and saying you're somebody that you're not. They don't like you to do that.
No, it's one of their rules. You're not supposed to do that. Now, the state actually tried to pass a bill last year that would have allowed teachers to create these accounts and monitor students' activity. Well, that was shot down, and the district took it upon themselves to say, you can't do this.
I don't think it's a good idea to do that. I mean, the principal has so many other things to worry about. What the kids are saying about you online, you're a grown-up. You should be over that.
Right.
So I think that was a waste of her time, and I think it was a failure in leadership on her part.
Well, so many of you are commenting. We had over 25 comments on this story as of 9 o'clock this morning. Here's what you're saying. Terry Menger, people do it all the time on Facebook. If it helps crack down on crime in schools, then go for it.
Marcie Keener says, my kids go to a middle school, and there is a staff member posing as a student on Facebook. They did let the parents know that they were doing it just to be one step ahead of any threats and to watch for bullying.
Yeah, Nicole Gaskell says that's so wrong. That's what criminals do, pose as others on Facebook to get to be friends with people. What kind of example is that setting for kids?
And Jennifer Lewis says it is not right to be dishonest, especially when you expect honesty from students, but I understand why she did it. Such a tight line to walk here. But then again, she knew that this was against district policy.
And she's lost the trust of the students.
She's also not going to have her job because she's resigned. So the question is, where does she think she can go after this, unless there's a school that doesn't care that you monitor their kids? I find that very surprising.
Yeah.
And I can understand wanting to watch bullying. Bullying is obviously a problem. But I don't know what she thinks she could do, because if a kid's doing something online, there's another issue. If kids are doing something online, where can the school step in legally? What can they do, because that's off-campus behavior?
Exactly, and that's exactly what the people argue. When we're not in school, you don't have the authority to monitor our kids' non-school activities. So,
and let me tell you, I knew what my teachers were doing out of school, and they still send me a little cash to keep my mouth shut.
Pay them off.
I was like, did I see you?
Exactly. Well, we want you to keep the dialogue going on our Facebook page.
Yeah, still to come on.